Praise Yah, brothers and sisters. Praise the Most High, the one worthy of all praise, honor, and esteem. I come to you today to share something with you, to give you something to think about. But before we do, let's say the Tehillim 128, verse 1. Baruch are all those who revere Yahuah and those who walk in his ways. Okay, so something to think about. So we all know that there are certain things in this walk that are controversial, confusing, causing division, and doing all those things that are not pleasing to the Father. But he's going to have one new man. He's going to bring it all together. So right now, while we're all trying to find our way and find what is pleasing to him, what is it is he's really wanting us to do as we find our way out of the darkness in which we were taught in religion, and whew. So one of the things is the calendar. So I am not an expert. I am still finding my way myself, but I have been concerned that this may be something that will put us in a place where we may be among those that he says, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, because I never knew you. You didn't do the will of the Father." And we know that his Ben always said that. I do always the things that my Father says, or the things that I saw my Father do, or my will is to do the will of him that sent me. And so that is very important. And he told us all through the scriptures to do that, to obey him, keep his commandments. So some time ago, I came to feeling that I need to keep the Shabbat by the movement of the moon, the sun and the moon. Hanak talks about how they have, what did he say? Something like an agreement among them, something along that line. It's really beautiful the way he says it, that they know they're working together. They know that they both have assignments to bring light to the earth. They were given their commandments in the beginning, and in Bereshith we read about that, and so they know that they work together. There's a time of the month when they're in conjunction with the earth, and it just gets very scientific. And I was starting to understand all that, and then I got a little bit of, well, no, people were just feeling uncomfortable about it. They wanted to do it, but they were like, "Oh, it's just too hard. It's just too much." And you got people saying this, you got people saying that, and I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to follow the traditional timekeeping method that we do, here. And so that's what I'm going to do. So, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? And, like some people were saying too to me that, at least I'm just going to keep the 7 days that's on that particular time, that schedule that Babylon is keeping. At least I'll know I'm keeping the 7 days. And I thought, well, you know what? That's true. That's true. That's true. So let me just go ahead and do that, because at least, Father, then I am at least keeping that commandment. Well, I just wasn't comfortable with it. So I went back to keeping it according to what I feel is written in the scriptures. Now I'm also getting back into, getting the revelation of how to do it. And when I was doing it, I had my little notebook and I was listening to scientific videos and just really get an understanding of how everything worked. And I listened to a few of our brothers and sisters that have platforms, and and so I had me a little notebook, and it was helping me, and I was really starting to feel very, very, very comfortable, even looking at the different transformations of the moon, and understanding that instead of being a new moon, it's really a renewed moon, and was really feeling comfortable. Well, anyway, so I went back and I was joining other people, and I just couldn't do it. So now I'm back, and I've been back for maybe 2 months, 6 weeks, something like that. And I was starting to feel like I need to at least share this with what I have gone through. This is okay. So we'll look at this as my testimony. Okay. But like I said, it just really, I just really feel like this is what we're supposed to be doing. But I am not trying to convince anyone. Yes, I am. I am trying to convince you because I think this is it. So I'm going to share a few things with you. I probably will not be before you long because I don't have much to say, because I don't know much to say, except that I think we need to look at it. I think we really need to look at it. Romans 12 says, I beseech you, therefore, brothers and sisters, by the loving kindness of Yahuah, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable to Yahuah, which is your reasonable service, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahuah. He said, present your bodies as a living sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice to do it his way in this time that we're living, a wicked, wicked time frame. It is a living sacrifice. And I would like to say that if you really begin to see this, what we need to do you not believe that he'll show you how to do it? If you're being obedient, if this is what he wants and we're being obedient, won't he show us how to do it? Okay. So a living sacrifice, set apart. Well, set apart. That means we don't do the things that the world does. We are supposed to be set apart. We don't do the things they do. And he says, this is acceptable to Yahuah, which is our reasonable service. It's the least we can do, is to be a living sacrifice, set apart. This is our reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, which we already were conformed to the world because we didn't know they were lying to us and had us all believing stuff that, okay, that's another subject. But anyways, so be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. We need to renew our minds. So the way we were taught, the things we were told, we got to renew our minds. And what else? We're supposed to have the same mind that was in Yahushua HaMashiach, which was what? To always do the things that please the Father. That was his mindset. Okay, that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahuah. That got me. When he gave me this the other day, I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. So we're going to look into some scriptures and hopefully they'll help you. I will share some things that I've gotten from, I'll share some different brothers and sisters that I've heard talking about this that I thought was very enlightening. And you can check out their videos, so do a search, a YouTube search for their videos and find them, and because they're going to go more in depth than what I can do. I am just here to give you something to think about and let you know, brothers and sisters, we're going to have to be a living sacrifice. We're going to have to come out from among them. We'll have to be set apart. We're not supposed to do what they're doing. Okay, so let me get into this. Okay. So a lot of people call it the Creator's calendar, right? Why do they call it the Creator's calendar? Because it's his calendar. He's the creator of everything that was created in the beginning. So, and one of them was time. And he did time for us, right? Because he's eternal. He doesn't need time. In Bereshith, or Genesis 1, and Yahuah said, let there be light. And there was light. And Yahuah saw the light, and that it was good. And Yahuah divided the light from the darkness. And Yahuah said, let there be lights in the firmament of the Shamayim, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years, so they can be, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. Now, when I looked up the word for in the thesaurus, because I know it's a preposition, I learned that when I was in elementary school, and it said that you would replace it for intended for. So if we say, let them be intended for signs, or let them be designed for signs, or let them represent, or in behalf of, in support of, or in favor of. That's what the lights were supposed to do. They are intended for signs, seasons, for days, and for years. In Daniel 7, it reads, "And he shall insult the Most High. He shall torment, wear out the holy ones of the Most High. And he shall attempt to change the calendar and the ordinances." Okay, so that was one translation. This is the Hallelujah Scriptures. And it says, and it speaks words against the Most High, and it wears out the Kodeshim of the Most High, and it intends to change appointed times and laws, and they are given unto his hand for a time and times and half a times. So we know he's talking about the beast, who's going to be coming against Yah's people, the commandment keepers. But the thing about it is, like when I first started learning about this so many decades ago, I thought certain things were going to be happening towards the end of times, but really a lot of things were happening throughout time. And this is something that he has been doing for some time now, and working to change things. So now I want to share with you something that hopefully will also give you something to think about. You'll have to do your own online search to get this, to get a better understanding of this. But so Yahuah already had a way for us to keep up with what was going on, right? He told the two lights what they were designed for, what they were supposed to do. We just read in Daniel where it says that what the beast was going to do. And so when we look at this calendar, this is in 1752. They made a change in the calendar. They went from the Julian to the Gregorian. I think that's what happened. Or already was Gregorian, but anyways, they made some changes, and they changed the time. This is man who has a God complex. There was a song a long time ago by some the group was called The Last Poets, and it was in the 70s. I was in the high school, and I didn't really understand at the time, but he says, certain people have a God complex. They want to be, and we've seen that so many times. Look at all the things that people are doing that are going against Father, and how they just, oh my goodness, I can't get into all that right now, but some of the things that are going on. So they took it upon themselves to do this. And even when you, there's some really good videos on that too by different brothers and sisters. When you look at the different months, they don't equate to what they're calling them. Like the 9th month is not, they have it in the 10th month. They have the 12th month named after the 10th month, and everything is all crazy. But when you keep the calendar, the creator's calendar, it's right. It syncs right. So look at this. Reason I'm showing you this is when you look at this in 1752 September, Tuesday was the 1st, Wednesday was the 2nd, and then it jumped to the 14th. And this is the calendar that we're on now. And they had their reasons for wanting to do this. And I don't really remember right now what it was. But it was so they could fit all this stuff in and get the... Anyways, do your own research. Because until you do it yourself, you're not going to be able to feel comfortable. You should not feel comfortable because someone is telling you to do something. That's why I say I'm not going to be before you long. I am still learning myself, but my concern for us is, are we doing the will of the Father, or are we still tangled up with the traditional ways of doing things? Are we still involved in that, or have we become more set apart? Is there a distinction between how we live and who we serve than the majority of the people? Are we on the narrow way. He said, Baruch are all those who revere Yahuah and walk in his ways. Yahuah appointed the moon for seasons. This is what the Creator's calendar would look like if we were to use the images of the moon, the stages of the lesser light. If we were to do that, this is what it would look like. This is when, you know how it gets very, very dark, and I'm not going to be scientific now because, like I said, I was starting to understand it and I dropped it. And then when they see the first sliver, that's the first day. That is the new moon. They've seen a glimpse of the light on the moon. And so that's the new moon. That's when it's new moon. And so then as it is gradually changing and why it's going towards the fact of the full moon, when the moon becomes full. And then after it becomes full, it starts decreasing. We see less and less light because why? The position of the sun. Because we're seeing the moon from the reflection of the sun. And do you know what? I remember reading someplace that said that the best time to see the moon is like about 5:30 at night. It's like the moon is up. Another thing too, they say the moon is up all day long. We just don't always see it. And then there are times we can see it. We're like, what's the moon doing? The moon's always up. It is always up. They have I learned that it like goes and rests someplace during the day while the sun's doing her thing, but that's not the truth. So this is what the Creator's calendar would look like if we were to do it this way. We didn't want to use numbers, and I did start doing it this way too at one point. That's how I was doing it. Or you could do it this way with the numbers. The new moon day right there. Right? And I meant to look it up so I could share with you, but that's another thing that you can do your research. You'll feel so much better doing your own research, writing it down on paper, going through the books, going online, whatever you need to do. You'll feel so much more just sure and certain when you do your own research. So I'm just giving you something to think about. So even if where it says the new moon right here, new moon day, right? On their calendar, it may say the 15th, but our month, based on the Creator's calendar, his time frame, this is the first day. And so our numbers are not going to be the same as their numbers. And so then from there, once you count the days, the Shabbat on this month is going to be actually on this day that many people keep. But a lot of times it's going to be that 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th might be on a Tuesday or another day of the week. And that's where people are haven't made up their mind they're going to be a living sacrifice and do what they need to do to keep that day. Now, most people probably can't get off of work, but what will Yahuah tell you that will please him for the time? He may say, you have to go to work. I know you're in Babylon, but when you come home, then you will honor that. I don't know, but I do believe that the beginning step is the fact that we have to accept his calendar and that he has already set in place how he wants us to keep the calendar. And the fact that we've already been told that the beast system is going to work to change that in the ordinances. What is an ordinance? What is an ordinance? It's something, it's a custom or practice. It's something that's already been established by a government. And we're not, you know what kingdom we're supposed to be of. So he's already set in place how he wants things done. And so I believe that once he sees that, Baruch are all those who revere him and walk in his ways. He is not going to turn his back on those whose the intent of the heart is to please him. He will make a way, but we have to trust him in that. I do not believe he's going to accept from us. It was too much I had to go to work still. That's not for us to be concerned how he's going to work it out. All he wants us to do is be obedient. That's why it's called sacrifice, a living sacrifice. Just be obedient. Just be obedient. The months of the year were lunar and began with the new moon. And you can look this up in the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia calendar, page 631. That's their calendar. Their encyclopedia, talking about the calendar. The new moon is still, and the Shabbat originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. And some people say it's the lunar cycle or the solar lunar cycle. I say it takes both. From what I was learning when I was doing my research, it takes both. It's the reflection of the moon, or the lack of, or the position of the moon in reference to the sun, the lesser light, the greater light, that's allowing us to see from the earth. From the earth, we're seeing it a certain way. It's not like that in the heavenlies. It's not, from what we can see, we're seeing shadows. We're seeing how the sun is reflecting on the sun, on the moon. And I'm gonna leave it at that because, like I said, I'm not versed on that yet, but I'm going to be. Okay. So, but look at that. The new moon is still, and the Shabbat originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. And you can look in the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia for that. Same page. I'm sorry, it's not the same page. This page is 410. This man was featured on a Newsweek magazine. This is an old magazine where they had prominent people on it. And he was featured. In fact, he was on the cover. In fact, that picture there, he was on the cover of Newsweek that particular week. And he says, he's quoted as saying, the present Jewish calendar was fixed in the 4th century. Now, this man is a Talmud scholar, meaning that he's an expert in Jewish law. He was a leader of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America and Conservative Judaism. And you can find more on him in Wikipedia or in other places of reference. But this is what he said. And he's an expert of Jewish law. He's a Talmud scholar. In closing, I'm going to mention again the Knox translation, Daniel 7:25, and I also read earlier from Hallelujah scriptures. He shall insult the Most High. That's an insult to the Most High. The things that he's going to do is all about insulting the Most High. He shall insult the Most High. He shall torment and wear out the Kodesh ones of the Most High. And he shall attempt to change the calendar and the ordinance. What is the ordinance? To keep the Shabbat. Every 7 days. And what I like about it, if we do it the way that he says, we won't be grouped with other people who are keeping it based on the traditional calendar, the popular calendar. It's a way of keeping us hid, right? It's also too going to be, I'll tell you this, when I keep it, I feel, I want to say I feel clean. I feel excited that I am keeping it as he prescribed it, as he desires it to be kept. And I almost feel like I get 2 days, because that one that people are keeping based on the current popular way, people are going about doing what they want to do. So I kind of feel like I got this other day that I'm not going to be disturbed by other people for the most part, because they're out doing their own thing, running around and getting their worldly stuff done. And then the other day, that is the true day. It's just so different. It feels good. It feels good. But those that are working, like I said, I'm not out there in the workforce like so many people are. Don't let that stop you from doing what he has already set up for us to do. And he says to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Let him lead and guide you. But first of all, it's going to start with you at least checking it out, starting with his word. And there's so many scriptures where he's talking about the moon. And the moon, like I said, I wanted to get that and I didn't get it. Moon, month actually comes from the word moon, the Hebrew. It comes from what I've heard. Month comes from the word moon. So what we're doing is not doing it is because we're uncomfortable. It's like you ever start a new exercise regimen and you just got it, or anything you're trying to do to change a habit that you're not happy with, and you're trying to change your ways of doing things. Is very uncomfortable. And that's what is going on with us having to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. We have to be set apart. And are we set apart if we're still using, we're using their method to please the Father? Think about it. That's their 7 day. It's not Yahuah's 7 day. It's their 7 day on what? Their instrument, not his. It's not what he has set up. And you saw how in 1752, how they jumped to make it work for them. They jumped from the second on that Wednesday to Thursday was dated on the calendar, 14. And you can look it up. You can look it up. Because as you saw what I had put up, it was an online search. I'll put it back up for you. Online search. Yeah. So you can look it up. You can look it up for yourself. So with that, that's all I have to say. I'm just very concerned that a lot of us are hiding behind fear and confusion and not knowing how we're going to do it perfectly. So I'm just going to do the 7 days that are based on this, but we're basing it on a lie. We're basing, if we keep the 7 day like everyone is doing it, who thinks they're doing it right, who are not following the creator's calendar, we are basing it on a lie. We're basing it on their method. We're doing what they say. They're saying this is the 7th day, rest on this day. And yet, no, that's not how he said it. That is not how he set it up. And we're not being obedient. And so let him, he says, trust him in all our ways. Lean down to our own understanding. And we can say, Father, I trust you. I want to do right. I want to please you. I don't want to be part of this world. You told us to be set apart, to come out from among her. This is one of the ways of coming out from among her. Yes, we still have to follow that method for going to work and paying bills and doing those kind of things. But when it comes to the things of Yah, they're not supposed to be, we cannot. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that sound like something he would tell the children of Yashrael in the Torah? You know, I could just hear some of the things that they did. This is defilement. We're defiling something that's very sacred to him by using man's method, his vehicle, his understand, his no, I just don't believe that's what we're supposed to do. So anyway, so with that, just give you something to think about. We are to be set apart. And if we're being obedient to him, is he not the loving Father that he is, not going to make a way? Is he not going to console us and let us know, I'm going to help you through this, but I'm so glad you're joining my team, that you are coming completely out of her. You're not relying on them and what they say as to how to do my ordinances. How are they going to tell you how to keep my ordinances? No. No, brothers and sisters. We got to come out. We got to come up from it, and we just got to do it. And that's how we have to follow him. We're following him. We're going to have a munah. We're going to have belief in him. And that's what it is, right? when we're living, I remember when I was in religion, they would say, it's like being blind. Having faith is like being blind. You take one step and not knowing where you're going, but you're trusting in him. That's what this says. Trust him. I'm keeping your word, Father. And Tehillim 128, it says, Baruch are all those who revere you. We're revering him. Baruch are all those that revere you and walk in your ways. I'm walking in your ways, Father. And I'm excited. And who knows? You know, if we're gonna dwell in the secret place, doesn't that mean we're doing things? We're someplace where they don't know where we're at. This is part of the kingdom. This is part of his kingdom. We have to obey his ordinances. And he started out by saying, what the light was going to do. He divided the light, the day from the night. He said, and let them be for signs. And when he speaks, it is, right? He said, let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And so why would the beast be so determined to attempt to change the times? But because it's very, very, very important. Very important. This might be one of the greatest things we could be doing that's keeping us, that's going to make us more set apart and more favored by him. We have to present ourselves as living sacrifices, which is what he said, which is acceptable. Let me put it up one more time, and then we're closing. I beseech you, therefore, brothers and sisters, by the loving kindness of Yahuah, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable to Yahuah, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed. Be not conformed. Be not conformed to this world. And this world is a system. The earth is what he created, but the world is a system, a way of doing things. Be not conformed to them, but be transformed. Come out of them. It's like he knows everything. He knew we were going to be programmed, wrongfully programmed. But be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahuah. Brothers and sisters, it's another way of pleasing him. It's another way of being set apart. It's another way of being Kodeshim. It's another way of having his attention when we strive to please him and not fashion ourselves after them when it comes to the things of his kingdom. How are we going to mix his kingdom with their world system? We can't. There's no way we can. He's not going to have that so. That's a stench to him. He's not honoring that we're keeping a seventh day Shabbat when it has nothing to do with his calendar, what he spoke in the very beginning and what he expects. It's not. So hopefully there'll be others that will join me and start doing some more research and getting really, really, really comfortable with the workings of it. Like I said in Hanak, he talks about it, how they go, the sun goes into, the greater light goes into her chambers and she does this and that, and how she and the moon are in agreement, and it's beautiful. Everything's synchronized. And then there's one time of the month where the moon, the earth, and the sun are in alignment. And I think is that the conjunction? But anyways, you'll find out when you start doing your research. I love you, brothers and sisters. And let's please the Father. Let's join him hand in hand with everything he's told us to do. Because that's a scary statement when he says he's going to tell people, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, because I never knew you. You didn't do the will of the Father. And he's told us that judgment is going to start at our house. And that's in 2 Kepha, I think. At his house. Judgment is going to start at his house. Those who say they're believers. But there's another one, either Isaiah or Ezekiel, I just read it last week, that says almost the exact same thing. So let's line up with him. Let's be set apart. Let's be set apart. It's a great feeling. I really like it. I really do like it. I really do like it. I can feel his pleasure when I keep it. So I'm back to keeping it. And so just be encouraged, brothers and sisters. And remember, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. He's already said how it's supposed to be. He's already told the sun and the moon, and they're being obedient. They're doing it. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. We need to be following it. Another thing that's been kind of hard too, which is one thing that kind of like got me off track from a few months ago, is that sometimes it's hard to find it. And that's what I'm asking them now. How do I find it? Right now, I've got different ways to find it. I can go online and find what the moon is, where we're at in the moon. Is it Gibbons, or is it waxing or waning? And I can look that up, and so I'm just trusting him that when we don't have that anymore, he's gonna let us know. But the thing is, the first thing is take that first step in obedience. We got to show him that we're trying. Not making excuses. That's not a living sacrifice. Well, it's too hard. I don't know how to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. It ain't about how we want to do it. Living sacrifice. I love you, brothers and sisters. And remember, we win in Yahuah, and we're going to win in this. We're going to win in this. But we got to take that first step. And we'll be amazed at how he'll work it out. We can't do things our own way, because we do things our way, it leads to destruction. Lean not unto our own ways. I'll talk to you next time. Be encouraged and stay encouraged. Praise Yah. We win in Yah all the time.